Hello, welcome to this exhibition match at the home of snooker, the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The first frame, Mark Williams to break.
Hello there folks, it is TIJ Gaming and welcome to some more Snooker 19 gameplay. Today we're playing a quick match trying to replicate and emulate the 2018 World Championship Snooker final between Mark Williams, the Welsh potting machine, and John Higgins, the Wizard of Wishaw. Wishaw, is that right? I think so. But, of course, these two met in the final last year. Mark Williams winning a very close final, 18-16. It came down to the last of two. Of course, Mark Williams being 17-16 up, and then won the last. And then did a press conference naked after that. Unfortunately, I'm not going to show you that in this video. Now, I think he had got some underwear on, but apart from that, Mark Williams was all naked. But he kept to his promise of that before the match. But we are playing John Higgins in the best of three at the Crucible Theatre, just to show you guys a bit more of the Snooker 19 gameplay, and also have a discussion with you folks about a few of the features of the game. If it's your first video of mine watching on Snooker 19, I recommend you go and watch the rest of the content on my channel. There's a few episodes of Neil Robertson Career Mode out now, as well as a first impressions video, and some more gameplay, the likes of Ronnie O'Sullivan against Judd Trump. We're going to be playing as Mark Williams. John Higgins will play against us. Hello, and we are at the Crucible Theatre for this episode of Snooker 19 gameplay. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of the features of the game, just to try and get some discussion in this video. I know some people don't like talking on videos and would rather just watch the gameplay, but I think that just takes a little bit away from it, to be honest. You know, I want my gameplay to be a bit, I mean, what, either like zombie eyes on Mark Williams, it looks like he doesn't want to be here. Which is a good first point to talk about, actually. A bit of character animation. Now, I don't know about you guys, but considering this is all meant to be all, you know, 3D, all flashy, and, you know, all retina scans and all that sort of stuff, the player faces don't look... Well, some of the player faces, I'm a little bit harsh. Some of them look fine. You know, the likes of John Higgins, you can clearly distinguish it's John Higgins, and he looks fine, but Mark Williams, and I think the worst player is Neil Robertson. Neil Robertson looks terrible on this game. I mean, can I just add, I'm probably terrible as well. That safety shot was from the lowest order, and Mark Williams would not be proud of that whatsoever. But, you know, that face of John Higgins is fine. You know, you can clearly see it's John Higgins. A lot of likenesses is to John Higgins. I haven't really seen the player face of Mark Williams much, even though I've been playing as him. Might be able to get a glimpse when he sat in the chair, but what a classic this is. My controller have ran out, so I'm going to be back in just a second. Unfortunately, we've missed quite a bit of John Higgins' break there because of that, because the game didn't pause while we stood here. Let's have a look at Mark. I mean, he looks like a bit of a zombie, to be honest, his eyes do. We'll get a bigger picture of him when he actually looks up, but John Higgins looks fine. I mean, look at those eyes. Oh dear. But it's a bit of a disappointment in the game, I have to say. I mean, these people who say it's PS2 graphics are talking out the backside, to be quite honest, because it is not PS2 graphics. Believe me, I've played those games, and they are not anywhere near the quality of these graphics. But I can see what people mean. You know, they're not great. I can completely appreciate that. The graphics aren't fantastic. But, you know, I don't think they're bad. Good red. The crowd seem to like that at the Crucible. That's another thing we can talk about. I mean, I'm just setting myself up here. All the licensed tournaments are in the game, so 25 tournaments, both ranking and invitational. And all the arenas look great. I haven't played in all the arenas yet, of course, but from the menus and all that, they all seem to be quite nicely arranged, and they just look great. You know, it's really nice to see them all in the game. The first time that this many arenas has been in the game, and the amount of depth that's been given to the arenas is really encouraging. Is that red going to drop? No, it's not, is it? Well, but Mark Williams doesn't look too bad, you know. You can still distinguish who it is, and that's the case for all players, but I can understand in this day and age why people would be a bit upset about that. But, you know, it's okay. But players do play very similarly to each other, that's another point. Players do play very similarly to each other. There's not really much variation in players, you know. You could... some players a bit more fancy than others, some players a bit more like Terry Griffiths. I mean, to be fair, actually, looking at that view, Mark Williams doesn't look too bad. So I might have been a bit harsh on him at the start. But, you know, players have got different playing styles. Judd Trump's very much not safety first, I think it's fair to say. He's a very aggressive player, and then you've got players that I'm trying to think of the equivalent. There probably isn't an equivalent because there's only one Terry Griffiths. Essentially asleep. Terry Griffiths would waiting for him to take a shot, but I don't know why I'm talking about Terry Griffiths. That's purely because of Virgo. I could have set myself up for a commentary discussion there, but I have already talked about commentary on my previous video, Ronnie against Trump, so you guys can hear that. Ooh, a little bit tough that was. Unless it comes back down and gets the double. No, it's not hard enough, but we're fine, because that cluster doesn't see any opening. Too hard though there, but I do like the facts of the unforgiving pockets. I think it's very encouraging. You've got to respect the pockets. You can't just whack it at the pockets, which arguably you could do in previous games. By the way, I've got absolutely no idea how we're in this frame. We've potted one or two. Oh, that's way too hard. We've potted one or two, but John Higgins really hasn't used his time valuably, really. But that's a poor safety. Straight back to John, this will be. Again, I would talk about commentary, but I've talked about that in my previous video, and I'd hate to talk about that in two. But I've obviously played a lot more of the game now than I did when I did my Ronnie versus Judd commentary, so some of those things might change that I said, but I am really enjoying the game. I wouldn't say I'm addicted to the game, because unfortunately I've got A-level revision, so I can't sit here all day and play as much as I would love to do that. But, I've got A-levels, they're very important, so bit of revision has to go in here and there, just a little bit into my subjects, but barring that, I would be playing this game all the time. I think this will hit the other red. No, it won't actually. Ooh, so close, but he's missed it. That'll annoy him. Very close. So much narrow margins with the pockets. I mean, I'm not snooker here, to be honest. Particularly in today's. Well, it'll be today's. No, in tomorrow's video with Neil Robertson, which I've already recorded. Episode 3 of Cream I'm a lot better than this suggests in terms of potting accuracy. It's just because I'm yapping and talking that potentially might be a little bit off my potting, but this just shows some of the gameplay of us trying to replicate the final. Of course, I'd never play over 35 frames, but that's something you can do in this game that hasn't been in previous games. I know we can technically still win this, but we're going to concede the frame there. Rather get as much gameplay in, solid gameplay anyway, as possible. I don't really want to show a massive safety battle, but yeah. What was I saying?
Thank you. The second frame.
Been distracted. Oh yeah, 35 frames. Well, it's brilliant that you can play with so many amounts of frames. Again, something that hasn't been able to be done for a while, and it's just encouraging that this game is quite extensive in terms of what you can do. Again, one thing you can't do is make your own player, and that's the only downside of this, I think, honestly. If you could make your own player and compete in a range of events, a range of venues, in tournaments, ranking and invitational, it'd be really exciting. And it's equally as exciting. I mean, that's by the way, a very poor safety again. Still learning those shots on this game, but it'd be a lot more immersive. Not that I'm saying it's not now, but it would be quite immersive if you could play as your own player and try and go up to number 1. But there's plenty of options. It's not like on a Formula 1 game where you can just go 1 as 20 drivers. It's a massively expanded field. I mean, I'm just setting myself up here because talk about how it's the biggest roster yet on a snooker game, and that is simply fantastic. It just shows how much memory there is on these consoles. I would guess that the reason they weren't on, I think that's touching that other ball, so we won't be able to hit that down into that pocket. It's a good spot there. But one of the reasons I'm guessing that they weren't able to add all the players to old games is because of memory, in terms of not having enough memory to store those players. I know that you can store... actually, is that right? Because you can... No, there's about 100 odd players on the old games, just that some of them aren't real. So maybe a bit of a debunked theory by myself there. It was worth having a go. I'm just having a look at these reds. I mean, the amount of depth you can go in terms of looking the balls, looking around the table, and those balls aren't actually touching, But I don't think this red would go past, would it? I guess the best way to do it is to try it, isn't it? No, I mean, from that angle it wouldn't. I mean, they're not touching these balls, aren't? That's clear. But I suppose from this angle, there's no way that's going to go through. I mean, look at this beautiful angle. It's cracking that you can get so down and deep with the tails. I mean, purists would be going, well, you know, you can't do that in real life, so what's the point of doing it here? Just see John Higgins. Look at them all in the crowd, eh? But Higgins' face just doesn't change. Just stays as it is. Not cracking a smile or anything. Anyone else in the crowd? Just going to see Virgo pop up in a minute. Hello! I'm back. I mean, we need to pick a shot here. Might as well just play a safety. After all that, we're going to play a safety. Class. Don't think there was a pot on anywhere, though. Not that I was aware. Keep it coming, keep it coming, keep it coming. Just past the green. That's a very good safety, actually. Nice stuff. And this game is so rewarding when things go right. And it's great. You know, it gives the challenge to a player without being frustrating. Because things do go right sometimes if you play your cards right. But you can't just go whacking balls around and hopefully you can fluke something. I mean, yes, you can get the odd fluke. Like I did earlier with a double of the black. Which, to be honest, I didn't really mean. But, yeah, I got a double on the black, which was quite a good double. I was quite proud of it, but again, you know, it's challenging, but when things like that come off, it's nice. But the aiming aid, I am playing on Pro aiming aid. That's the one I've picked. And I'm pretty much getting used to that now, but I certainly couldn't play with no aiming aid, but I wouldn't play with amateur because, you know, it's too easy. But that just makes the game accessible for people. You know, not everyone is willing to put the hours in like me and learn the game. Some people just want to play as their top favourite player and win the World Championship, and that's absolutely fair enough. So it allows people to do that at all levels, but those who want more of a challenge, and equally reversed, those who don't want that challenge, those who just want a bit of an arcade experience can get that. So I don't think there's any problem with that. That's well done by the developers to recognise that and not to make the game really hard like other games, like the Golf Club, for example. That's a game that's I mean, I love golf games. I played a lot of Rory McIlroy PGA Tour golf, for example, but I think that 2K have ruined that a little bit by making it not accessible enough. Because it's very much, you either put the hours in and learn how to play the game. By the way, we got very lucky with this pink here. No, we haven't. Just travelled a bit further than I thought. But, you know, I think developers have ruined games by making them too hard. You know, back in the day, they weren't easy, I'm not saying that, but they were a lot more accessible. And people who haven't got time to put the hours into this game can make sure that they can do what they want on amateur. And equally those who just aren't good enough at the game, you could argue potentially me, but those who just aren't good enough at the game and just cannot learn how to get better. The amateur aid is there, but for the purists there's no aiming aid, so it's accessible to all. Bear in mind the online mode is locked to a pro aiming aid, so it's kind of middle ground, which I think's fair enough. You know, if you're playing on amateur, would you really venture online? I'm not particularly sure. There might be an argument to say yes, you're more likely to actually, but I doubt that. It's going to be a soft shot on this red to put it in the middle, but we'll try it.
Pace is key.
Always worth a try.
Doesn't want to overhit this.
Good pot. And like I say, we weren't quite sure with that. There's some uncertainty about every shot, which is brilliant, to be honest. You know, in real life, you're not going unless it's a particularly straight pot. You know, with this one, it's, yeah, that's going in. And you know that from the outset, but with 95% of shots, you well know that none of these shots are dead certs to go in. By the way, no position here. Really unfortunate. Should have really considered that. But just play the safety here. But, you know, it's nice because it replicates real-life snooker, and it's a good simulator. I don't think anybody can take that away from the game, certainly. It's a cracking simulator. A little bit too hard there, but that should be fine. Keep running up the table. The tables are about right, I think, from watching snooker on the TV and watching the real-life stuff. They have been informed and suggested ideas from the likes of Sean Murphy and Kyron Wilson, so getting that input from the professionals just shows, A, the desire of the devs to improve the game, but equally from them to listen to the opinions of those who play. You know, a game's nothing without trying to replicate what happens in real life, and clearly I'd be rubbish in real life because I've just missed that by an absolute mile. But bearing in mind we are still a few days into this game. Funnily enough, I did publish my first ever play of this on YouTube, and I was absolutely shocking. I mean, you might think, Christ, how's he that bad? You know, he kind of got worse. But, you know, it's a learning curve. I think that this game will be one that I play for a long time, just for its hook in terms of, you know, it's going to take you a long time to improve, but the rewards will be there once you do improve. And with the amount of tournaments, it's not like, right, you're just going to play the World Championship and that's it.
24.
And there's three snooker games coming out this year. There's this one, Snooker Nation Championship, I think. I think that's what it's called. And this is Hendry, which is endorsed by Stephen Hendry. I've just said this is Hendry, haven't I? Have I just said this is Hendry? I can't remember. I think I'm going mad. I did say, though, I think I did say this is Hendry endorsed by Snooker, probably. Didn't do too badly to get out of that, did we? But left the pot on for him. We got out of it, but like I say, left the pot on. Well, he's 51 ahead with 43 remaining. You can see my voice is going a little bit now. I've recorded a lot over the last few days, so that's to be expected, I think, and at this stage. In fact, it's going a lot. I probably need to have a glass of water in a minute. But we'll get to the end of this video before I completely die. It's a good pot on the red. Oh, well, where's the cue ball? Oh, we're okay. Very lucky there. But, yeah. Good stuff. Not much potting from us in this video, but it just shows more of the AI, I guess. And for you guys that haven't got the game yet and are looking to buy Snooker 19, I think this footage is invaluable. And, you know, a little bit than me talking about my experiences with the game. I'm more than happy to continue that with you guys down in the comments. You know, if you're thinking of buying the game but aren't sure, I'm more than happy for you to ask me any questions down in the comments. You know, I've played plenty of this game now. I think I'm experienced enough to answer any of your burning questions if you haven't played the game. But equally, I do recommend my counterparts who are producing videos on this game. The four I know of, again, if you are producing content and I don't mention your name here, feel free to leave it down in the comments. We've got Captain Goodspeed, a good friend of mine. I do a podcast with him and he's just a snooker nut, to be honest. If he doesn't know anything about snooker, it's not worth knowing. We've got Veteran Gamers UK, Veteran Gamers UK or Veteran Gamers HD who produce good content, and the Qist as well, but I don't think the Qist provides any commentary. So if you are looking for stuff that's commentated over, then me, Cap, and Veteran Gamers, the guys over there, are the ones for you. But if you're just looking for gameplay, then potentially the Qist, and there are a few other YouTubers, likes of, I think, Kenny Little, who got the game quite early. But there are other guys that are just producing normal gameplay, so if that's your style, there's plenty of choice out there for you. But I hope you stick around for some of my content. If you've got to this point, you obviously don't hate me. Which is always a positive, I think. You know, you don't mind my content, and that's absolutely fantastic. But, of course, if you are feeling generous and are feeling willing today, feel free to subscribe. Again, you'll get all of my content in your sub box. That will include other content, but at the moment it's just purely Snooker 19 for the next few weeks. I want to get a good wealth of content out on this game before I focus on other games again. But this isn't a bad break, you know, to end the video. I think we can just about get away with this. We can get away with not being called rubbish in the comments. We haven't had too bad a break here.
Nicely done.
Pot of the pink, and it'll be a 40 break if we pot this black, so we can't be accused of being rubbish.
34.
So that's okay. You might say in the comments, well, you just fluked it, which is probably fair enough, to be honest. But, no surprise, Mark Williams is not going to win this. Not down to Mark Williams, I mean, we didn't pop the black in there, which is a bit disappointing. But the AI have beat us. It's tricky to beat the hard difficulty players. Didn't do too badly, though, there. We weren't mugged. John's going to take the black here, which I think is absolutely fair enough, and win the frame, and win the match.
Set, frame, and match. John Higgins.
Good stuff from John there. Well done. Highest break from us, 34. I mean, we only got 68 points. That's right, yep, 68 points. But not too bad in terms of that game from me. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, but a little bit of a talk through some of my thoughts on Snooker 19. As I said, if you want to continue those chats, feel free to leave some comments down below. I'm happy to support you with anything. And read just your opinions on the game. I don't want to hear any, oh, it's PS2 graphics, it's rubbish. I don't want to hear any of that, please. But I'm not saying I'm not saying, oh, you know, positives only. I do want to hear some of the criticism you guys have got rather than negatives. We'll use criticism as a word. But let me know what you think down in the comments. But that's been a bit more gameplay from Snooker 19. Plenty where that came from on the channel if you subscribe. But until the next time, folks, I've been TIJ Gaming. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.